Okay, Claude, who uses AI on the daily? Oh, okay, I'm already getting red pilled here. Who uses it in a CLI format, like Gemini, Claude? Scary times, people, scary times. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to look at how to automate development with AI. So Claude Code, if you're not familiar, it's basically just AI in a CLI format. So think ChatGPT, but in your CLI. And it comes with a bunch of tools, and it comes with a bunch of commands, and we'll see how that can be abused shortly. So I'm a person, I don't have that much time. I have a kid, it's the summer, and I was thinking, I want to build things, but I don't have the time to build things. So can you use AI to just build things for you? So you go to bed, you wake up in the morning, and you got something. And I started making a framework for that. I called it CC like Claude Code Management. I don't know what the E was, it just sounded good. But then I started searching, and I found that there are all these existing Claude Code frameworks, so I don't have to make it. I can just use one of these abominations. So when you're making software, there's a lot of things you do. You plan, maybe you're a product manager, you set goals, you break things down into tasks. You then make technical documentation, you have a design, you have coding standards, and some of this can be automated, right? Some of this can be automated. Not the stuff you guys do, but some of this can be automated, obviously. Like QA can be automated, right? So what these frameworks do is try to do all of it in a horrifying, frightening way. So I just put this warning in. I am a software developer. I work at a company called Amplitude. I would not use this at work. I do not do this. I do not recommend you use it at work. I don't recommend you use it. And I don't think it's a good idea, but I put 20 hours into playing with these things, and I can share my experience. So we all got that? I did not tell you to use this at work. So Claude Code frameworks, here's a few. This is the first one that I found. It's called CCPM. And I thought, oh, okay, it's gonna have lots of code. It's a framework, it's gonna have code in it, right? I thought, and it doesn't. It's entirely basically in these prompts. So as you go in, it's entirely built out of markdown files, and it actually functions as a framework. So here they have a code analyzer, and it's literally just text. And they have commands, and they're built, like you have a code rabbit here, and they're just prompts. Everything in it is prompts. It's prompts on top of prompts on top of prompts. Okay, are you guys doing okay? Just a health check. So what do these prompts do? Let's find out. Here is one of the first things you have to do when you start. You have to kind of tell your framework what the tech stack should be, what it should use. And you have to be really explicit up front. So there's a lot of, it took me like over an hour to specify all this information for this product I wanted to build. And then you kind of have to, so I looked at different frameworks, and they're gonna break it into tasks. So CCPM uses GitHub issues. Some of them use Jira tickets, maybe some use a Tono, I don't know. Some of them use a database, some of them just put the code, the tasks into Markdown. And then they just sick this fiendish AI beast on it, which we'll get to shortly. So if you have one thing, but when you're using Claude, you run it, and then it bothers you, right? It's like ding, and you say yes, and you say ding, and you say yes. This thing, I thought it would ding me. It didn't ding me. It just ran continuously for like an absurd amount of time. And not only that, but you can run it in parallel. So some of them run in parallel on containers. So that means that you basically send out these tasks, and they run in a container. They pull your code, they run in a container, and then they tell you when they're finished. For parallelization, they usually need like an external task source, like issues or Jira. And then some of them use parallel work trees. Anybody use work trees in their day-to-day? Security guy. All right. Yeah, I'll go over work trees because if you have no takeaways, work trees are cool. Basically, they're built in Git. And usually when you use Git, you switch branches, right? And that switches what's code in your editor. But work trees, what you do is you copy all your code and you put it in a folder, and it acts like a branch, and you can just go back into it. And when you do that, you can run Claude on multiple versions of your code base without collisions, without it like squashing and interfering with itself. Okay, so Claude code is made up of his agents, has MCP servers, has hooks, has commands, has output styles. And we'll put these together as a Frankenstein monster and see how it works. So some agents that are included in, say, Agent OS, you have a product manager, you have a software architect, you have a software developer, you have a QA engineer, and they will run and then they'll hand off the tasks to each other. And each one kind of has, I'll show you what an agent looks like. So here's the dumbest agent I could find. It's called a date checker. Because AIs are terrible at dates. They always think they're in the past. So Agent OS actually has, when they have to deal with dates and they want to know what today is, they have an agent they call that is pink, and it tells you what day it is and accurately timestamps all the information. And then some frameworks have specialized MCP servers. So if you think about it, you have a tech stack and you know that tech stack, you can also recommend all the MCP servers for that tech stack. So if you know that you're going to use Postgres, you can have specialized tools that go into Postgres. You can have specialized scripts for deploying or accessing things. So some of them are very tied to a stack, and some of the frameworks are very agnostic to any stack. And then Claude has hooks. Hooks are helpful. This is an example of a hook where when Claude finishes, it then says, you need to run a quality check. And you could say, you need to run lint, you need to run TypeScript, you need to run tests. So you can force it after every iteration to validate that that's quality code. You don't have to use a horrifying framework to do this, though. You can hook up a bell, you can hook up a video or something if you want. And Claude comes with slash commands. So these are some slash commands I like to use, and then I'll start to get some weird ones. These are actual ones that are in there. There's resume, so if you had a previous conversation, you can go find it, come back to it. They have a review. If you just type slash review in Claude, it'll give you a PR review. And if you do slash security review, it'll give you a security review. But if you run it twice, you can sometimes get different results. And if you're looking at other people's PRs, you can view PR comments. So if you're doing code review, you can do it with Claude. And you can make your own agents. And here's a funky one I saw the other day where somebody made a design review command. So what would that look like? And what they did was they hook up Playwright, and it'll go take screenshots of your app, and then it'll like act as a design reviewer and provide you feedback. So there's some pretty wild things people are doing right now. But here is a slash command that is in Agent OS. It's one of the first commands they ask you to run. So you start with a project and you run slash analyze product. Just type in the Claude, boom, and it will look at your product, and then it'll write you like a mission statement and suggest product features and give you a product roadmap. And it's pretty crazy, yeah. You can see some of the things it does. It goes through and it tries to understand your product. And I wanted to show what like working with, say, Agent OS looks like. They call it spec-driven development. So first you have the standards you write, like I showed at the beginning. And then you write /plan product, and it's going to write you out your mission, and you're going to edit it, and it's going to have back and forth with you, acting like a product manager. And then you ask it to create a spec, and that's going to act like an architect. It's going to break down the product into actionable engineering objectives and makes a big to-do list file. And then you can say, from that spec, create tasks, and it gets more smaller and iterative. And then you run /execute tasks, and it starts to swarm attack your tasks and complete them. So in practice, it really comes down to this. How well does it do the execute tasks? And in practice, I found initially it built a prototype pretty decently. And at one point I got really annoyed with it because it was in a TypeScript error loop. But where it's like, you fix it, you break something else, you fix it, you break something else. But we've all been there, right? We've all been there. So finally, when it finishes its tasks, it goes to a recap, and it basically makes this time-stamped, I'll kind of show it what it looks like. So it will, oh, what's going on here? That's not what it's supposed to look like. Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. So when it finishes, some of them will produce small diffs based on the completed tasks, and then you do a PR review. And then some of the frameworks will make the feature behind a feature flag and then ask you to view it. And some of them for websites will make the app and deploy it and then ask you to review it. So there's whatever you're comfortable with. And to kind of show what a project looks like here for a second. So I have one here in my cursor. Let's see. So you can see up here, it has its agents, and it has the commands, and then instructions. And then it starts to basically write specs, and they're all time-stamped. And where are my, and then inside here, you'll find the tasks and the spec and a light version of the spec that you can review. If you only want to work with a summary, you work with the light version of the summary. And then finally, it'll do recaps where it'll say what it did, what it completed, and it kind of acts like an ADR or some kind of documentation there. Okay, let me jump back here. Present. Okay, you can also edit how Claude talks to you, which is kind of funny. They have this thing called output styles. So if you want it to be more argumentative, this is a devil's advocate style. You can tell it be a devil's advocate. If you want it to be really terse, you can tell it to be that. If you want it to be overly rude to you, you can tell it. It's pretty funny. I recommend play around with output styles. Yeah, so basically, this is something that exists, and if you want to play with it, try it out. But just Google Claude Code Frameworks, and that's your choice. So, thank you very much. And I think that's all we got for you guys. I'll just throw up. Yeah, big thank you. We got a thing for the next event. And if you're interested, I believe 20 of us will be going to Steamworks a couple blocks away in Gastown afterwards. So we got about 30 minutes, and then we got to get out of here. Reservation starts at 8. It's under VanJS. So thanks everybody for coming out. Thank you, Atono. Thank you, BrainStation, for hosting us in this amazing blue lit area. And thank you for all our speakers and volunteers. And I'm trying to rush this, I apologize. Thanks.